I've put some extensive time over the last few months into the Wizard class, making it my favorite ranged class inside of Diablo Immortal. What I want to do with you guys today is give you the ultimate guide, offering 4 different builds for the Wizard for all elements of the game. Let's dive into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Diablo Immortal video. If you find this useful in any way, please subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps me out. I have 4 builds that I want to go through with you. A dungeon build, an invisible PvP meteor build, my OG PvP build, and an easy farming build that's not going to cramp up your fingers because, if you didn't know, playing as the Wizard, it can be very carpal tunnel finger heavy. It can be very painful over extensive amounts of time. So I like to have a build that's actually not hard to use, especially for when I'm farming and doing more casual activities inside of the game. Let's start out today, well, with our farming build. Please keep in mind, this is the weakest build of all of the 4. And the reason for using it is just so you could have ease of play while still doing a bunch of damage, being able to farm open world easily and even push dungeons, although you won't be the top damage dealer in a dungeon with this build. Keep that in mind. So for each of these builds, I'm going to give you guys an overview and then I'll show you skills, Paragon, and then go through each of the essences. I'm using the same greens across all sets, which some people may disagree with. These are what I'm using though, so this is what I'm going to share with you. You can definitely swap out certain things here and there. So I'm going with a 2-piece Restitution in Blood across all of my gear. I'm wearing a 2-piece Skybreaker's Bolt and a 4-piece Vthu. I actually love Vthu on so many classes that I play. For the skills, I'm going with Teleport for the ability to move around quickly. Lightning Nova, which actually makes me move quickly as well. Slow Time and Disintegrate, and Electrocute is my primary attack I like to use. It's worth noting right here that all of these have been changed into AoE damage because of the essences, so you can just melt things around you while you farm. And it only makes sense to be going with the Vanquisher Paragon tree because it's for farming. It's going to get you more resource drops when you are actually farming. So Lucky, Swift Learner, Gold Find, Treasure Find, and Greed. Now, also across all of my builds, so I'm not going to share this more than just once, I'm using a resonance of 4,299. There are definitely some 1 and 2 star gems that you could utilize in place of the 5 stars that I'm using. But right now, just so you can see what I'm wearing a Roiling Consequence, Blood-Soaked Jade, Blood Flow, Faded Trail, a Bottled Hope, and a Colossus Engine. These are some of my favorite gems inside of the game. Then I'm also going with a Seeping Bile, which could definitely be replaced with like a Pain Clasp or something like that, and a Gloom Cask gem. Those are the 8 gems that I'm currently wearing. Now let's go through the essences from top to bottom. Starting out with our helm, Static Field. Slow Time now surrounds you with a static field that follows you, damaging and applying shock to all enemies. This is great because Slow Time is not going to make you use your other skills more quickly, as you're going to see in many of the other builds today. Instead, it's another AoE. We have a chest plate, which I'm utilizing the Ancestral piece. Lightning Spiral. Lightning Nova now calls a lightning orb to orbit you, dealing lightning damage around you. Again, more AoE. With my shoulders, I'm going with Entropy Field. Disintegrate now surrounds you with an entropy field that follows you, damaging, making nearby enemies vulnerable to critical hits. You see what's going on. When you farm, you just run around the world with all of these things surrounding you, and you're gonna basically just be melting everything that you encounter, which is actually quite nice. Now let's move on to our pants. Disintegrate deals 9,000 additional damage every 3 hits. Super nice, I like that one a lot. We have our first primary weapon. When Lightning Nova deals a critical hit, it emits a charged bolt that deals 15,000 damage. Can't happen once more than every 1 second. And I'm going with, that one's called Radiant Splines, by the way. And I'm going with Electro Spike right here as the second. Electrocute leaps to 3 additional enemies and the damage is increased by 9%. I like this for farming because it's going to not only attack one enemy, but has the chance of attacking other enemies as well. The Siphon is our first secondary piece of gear. Casting Lightning Nova temporarily increases your movement speed by 60%. I like that. It's just going to make you more quick running around the world when you're farming. And Trifling Piffle, you're going to see this across multiple different builds today. When Lightning Nova hits a shocked enemy, it unleashes another Lightning Nova. I like it. It works out well. Also, please notice, looking at all of my gear, all gear slots have been awakened. The charm that I'm wearing across all of my builds looks like this. It's just I get as many skills as I can get for the wizard, and I don't go any crazier than that. So this right here is a easy farming build, so you're not going to go crazy having to tap the buttons like nuts, like you're going to have to do with the rest of the builds I'm about to share. Let's make our way over to my dungeon build. This is also the build that I use for Helliquary as well. You're going to notice some very similar skills across all of these builds, but they actually play quite differently. Taking a look over here, this is a quick look at all of the gear if you want to just take a quick screenshot. And as I mentioned, the greens are the same across the board. Skills, we're going with Slow Time, Lightning Nova, Disintegrate, and Arcane Wind, and I'm again using Electrocute. I actually like Electrocute a lot. And for the Paragon, I'm going with Slinger, Unseen Dynamism, Uncanny, Bloodthirst, Fury, and Superiority. Now, as I mentioned, the legendary gems haven't changed, nor have the green secondary pieces of gear. Let's take a look here at the helm. We have Termius Facade, Temporal Flux. Slow Time now causes you to enter a Temporal Flux, causing your non-channeled skills to reduce the cooldown of your other skills and increase movement speed. What this essentially is doing is allowing you to spam all of your other skills. This is what you're going to see in, I believe, all the rest of our builds here today, which also makes it a more difficult piece to play because your fingers are going to be going like crazy, which is why I like that lazy build I shared with you before. Then we have our chest piece, Lightning Spiral. Lightning Nova now calls a lightning orb to orbit you. Same one that we were wearing before. War Mage Shoulders. This one right here is Fractured Decay. Disintegrate now launches a small arcane sphere that bounces between you and multiple enemies, dealing damage and shattering their armor. Okay, remember, this is for dungeons and for Helliquary, things like that. Then we're going for our pants, Hastened Oblivion. Disintegrate's cooldown is reduced by 1.6 seconds when damaging enemies up to a maximum of 4.8 seconds. We have our first primary weapon, Mistral Rend. Here it's Arcane Vortex. Arcane Wind now unleashes a condensed arcane vortex that bounces between you and multiple enemies, damaging them and slowing them. And the second is Ossified Chromatera. I think it's called that. We have Slow Time increases your skill damage by 23% for 3 seconds. These builds are actually insane, and I often find myself being the top damage dealer when I run dungeons. Unless if I run with some of my whale friends, and then they always do. We have Blood of the Wind as the first secondary weapon. Arcane Wind deals 38% more damage when igniting a firestorm. And the second is again Trifling Piffle. We saw this just a few moments ago. When Lightning Nova hits a shocked enemy, it unleashes another Lightning Nova. This is the build you'll want to be using if you're going to be running any types of dungeons or Helliquary. It's my favorite one that I've encountered. So now let's take a look at some of the PvP builds that you're going to take when you're going against other opponents. This one is focused on Invisible Meteor. It is my second favorite of the 2 PvP builds that I have. And if you want to just take a quick look here, overarching essences right here. And again, I'm utilizing the same green items. Let's take a look at the skills. Again, Slow Time, Arcane Wind, Meteor, and Ice Armor this time around, and we're using Electrocute. So the build, definitely a lot different than what we've seen previously, which were for PvE experiences. And you would probably guess that Gladiator is the Paragon tree that we're using. Cheat Death, Quick-Witted, Trapper, Uncontrollable, and Rapid Recovery. Legendary gems and green items haven't changed for this build. The Termius Facade is again the helm that we're using. Again, this is going to make Slow Time turn into that Temporal Flux, allowing you to spam the rest of your skills. We're going with the Meteor radius is increased by 29% because Meteor is the primary damage dealer inside of this build. That's going to be for your chest plate. Stag of Ill Omen we are wearing right here. After casting Meteor, your damage is increased by 19% for 3 seconds. Different shoulder piece you're going to be utilizing for this build. We have Binding Forces, Meteor Macestro. Meteor now empowers you, during which you can call huge meteors to fall at target locations, but using a dash skill will cancel the empowerment. All right, so again, a lot of buffs right here to the meteors themselves. Then we're going to go with our first primary weapon, Thistle Boom. Gathering Storm, Arcane Wind now conjures a storm that grows over time, pulling in and damaging nearby enemies. And we have Ossified again, and this one here, slow time increases your skill damage. Let's move on over to our secondary pieces of gear. The Gree Bulk is Ice Cloak. Ice armor now grants you invisibility, only revealing you if an enemy gets close. This is why it's the invisible meteor build. You ever in PvP and don't see where your opponent is, but you're suddenly taking damage? That's what it's from. Weathering Eye. Arcane Wind now also applies a 30% reduction to movement speed for 6.4 seconds. This is probably the most popular wizard PvP build right now, but as I mentioned, it's not my favorite. I actually like the OG one better, maybe because I have more experience with it and I'm just better with it in PvP. Either way, you should try them both out and see which one you like the best. Let's go take a look at that one. I call this one the PvP OG build just because it's the one that I've been using for the longest time. This is an overlook of the essences, and yet again, the green items are the same. The skills inside of here are Teleport, which is going to offer a stun. You're going to be teleporting into enemies, stunning them, and dropping all your damage. Slow time, of course, Lightning Nova, Arcane Wind, and your attack is going to be Electrocute. And again, for the Paragon, you're going with Gladiator, Cheat Death, Quick-Witted, Trapper, Uncontrollable, and Rapid Recovery. Let's go through the essences, since the legendary gems and the green items and the charm are the same as my other builds. Again, Termius Facade. This is going to make you be able to spam all of your skills utilizing slow time. We are using the chest plate here. Runaway Lightning. Lightning Nova now unleashes a wild arc that jumps rapidly between random targets, leaving behind sparks of electricity that continue to deal damage when it hits shocked enemies. Love this one. It's essentially leaving damage out there for enemies to get struck by. Then you have Teleport now causes you to gain a shield that absorbs 38,000 damage and blocks 1 total loss of control effect. So when you teleport, you're instantly shielded and you don't get hit with any of those loss of controls, at least for 1 attack. Adds a lot of survivability to your build. Stalking Wind are the pants that we're wearing, and this is Blink. Teleport now blinks you to a target location, unleashing a vortex that damages and knocks enemies into the air. So you teleport in, knock them in the air. It's going to also throw some damage and then protect you by that 40,000 damage or whatnot. And then you have all the AoE going on around you. I think you can understand how this is working now. Chisel of the Architect. This is your first primary. Arcane Wind now unleashes an icy cyclone in a targeted direction that explodes on contact with an enemy or upon reaching its final destination. The icy explosion damages and chills nearby enemies, freezing those that were already chilled. It's called Snow Squall. The second primary weapon is Radiant Splines. When Lightning Nova deals critical hit, it emits a charged bolt that deals 15,000 damage. Then we look at our secondary weapons. Unrepentant Gale. Over here, maximum arcane wind charge is increased by 1, and then Trifling Piffle yet again. You're noticing some of these essences are here in multiple builds. When Lightning Nova hits a shocked enemy, it unleashes another Lightning Nova. So what you're starting to see here is that these builds, they're all very much focused on a lot of AoE damage. The PvP builds are offering us the ability to shield ourselves, to be invisible, to drop meteor damage, or to just have a lot of AoE damage and then stun enemies or at least knock them up in the air. Just so you guys can see some of my attributes, this is what my Herodrum looks like. I'm really focused on armor and armor penetration, and you can even take a look here about where I put all of my crystals in. And if you want to take a look at my attributes, combat rating 56k as of right now. And if I scroll over here, you can see armor, armor pen, potency, and resistance. I'm a little bit low on my resistance, and again, sitting at 4,299 resonance. Now, this is not the only wizard build or the only 4 wizard builds that I have in the channel. I've got a whole collection of wizard builds, some as old as 2 years ago, that utilize some of those brand new essences that newer players may be looking to use because they haven't unlocked some of these newer essences. Although I will say, I've unlocked almost all of the essences for the wizard. I'm only missing a couple, and they don't impact me being able to utilize any of these builds. So looking pretty good. Hopefully you guys have the essences as well. As I mentioned, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps me out, and I hope to see you back here tomorrow in my next Diablo Immortal video.